Hello, everybody. I'm super excited for this particular episode. I have been on a pretty powerful journey lately, an inner journey, a real inner journey. And that's what I wanted to talk about a little bit with you. I'm in this space of really, truly wanting a quantum leap year, not a leap year. I know that this is a leap year here in 2024, but a quantum leap in the desires that I have. And so, if you can imagine who you are becoming and what you want and what you really, truly want for yourself. So, here inside of Hello Body Freedom, our clients are working with truly coming into right relationship with food where food does not have control over them anymore. Coming into right relationship with their emotions so that way we're not eating every single time I feel happy or sad or lonely or stressed or bored or because I want it or because it tastes good or because why not? Right? We have all of these strong habit loops and patterns that wire eating with the way that we're feeling in our body, this intensity in our body. We're looking for a sustainable weight loss journey, a sustainable journey towards better health and higher health. And the truth is that because we are not some crazy diet plan that's sitting here promising that you're going to lose 50 pounds in 40 days and that kind of bullshit, because research proves that is just the wrong way to go. It can feel a little slower. It can feel more sustainable. It can feel like it matches more with your life as you're going through. And at the same time, I don't know about you, but in terms of what goals I have for my life, I'm just feeling this real level of desiring quantum leap, of really desiring what it means to break free and break through in more meaningful ways this year. And I'm looking at this in terms of my health. I'm looking at this in terms of my business. If you were inside of Hello Body Freedom or you're here listening to this when it comes to your weight loss journey and when it comes to your health and healing journey, maybe you are also in a place of truly wanting to just get to the other side of that. And what I have for you today in this podcast is something that I've never taught on before, but it is what I am moving through and working through right now. And I have a lot of resources that I've been going through, and I'm just excited to share this with you. And so, if you are sitting here today wondering and thinking about who you want to be, if you can imagine that future self, you can imagine your future self at your ideal size, then you could imagine your future self a decade later and then a decade later, still at your ideal size. When you're thinking of this future you, what does she feel like? Like, what kind of energy does she have? Who is she hanging around? How does she show up for herself? What kind of boundaries does she put in for herself? Her own inner boundaries, so that way she feels this level of inner support and self-love in the form of actions, in the form of thoughts, in the form of emotional processing and emotional regulation. Who you are becoming, and are you acting as that future self is already here? That, my friends, is the hard part, and that's what I want to dive really deep in with you today, because this is just so present in my mind. Because the truth of the matter is, for those of us who have struggled with our bodies and struggled with gaining the weight and then losing it and gaining it back, struggled with starting something and stopping, struggling with self-sabotaging behaviors that literally have just kept us stuck for years upon years, this podcast is for you. We're going to really dive into mindset. So, here in Hello Body Freedom, we work with sustainable ways of weight loss. We work with practical tools. We get completely out of diet culture. But then the other thing we do is we really work on, at a nervous system level, at a body level, how to resolve a lot of this unresolved intensity in the body that leads us to these habit loops of eating, overeating, stress eating, anxious eating, mindless eating, all the ways in which we use food that keeps us stuck in a body that we don't feel comfortable in. We have this really janky relationship with food. And so we're doing all this work. And what you hear me talk a lot about, because I don't see anybody else doing this except for what we do here in Hello Body Freedom, is really working at the body level in order to resolve at the body level. But there is another piece of the puzzle, and that is we must also be working with our minds. We must be working with our thoughts, right? And so the hardest part, whenever we are trying to imagine our future self and we are trying to get ourselves in that place, what makes that so hard is that The reality in this moment, the truth is you might be living in a body that doesn't feel that way. My future self is going to feel this way. It's going to look this way. This is the ideal size. These are the clothes I'm going to wear. This is the energy I'm going to have. These are the foods that I'm going to eat. But in this moment, in this reality moment right here, it's not real. And so trying to mindset your way and think your way out of it, first off, it feels like pretend. It doesn't feel true. And because it doesn't feel true, we automatically and easily just stay stuck right where we're at. And I will say that as you're going along this process, working with the body, working with the sensations in the body, the unresolved trauma, the processing of the experience of emotions, which is sensation in the body, it's a lot. It is a part of the game, but what we are going to really focus on right now is how fast you can really program your mind and get your thoughts in the right place so that you can start acting as your future self right here and right now. See, the thing is that the mind needs a target, right? It literally needs something that it can look at and match against and model for. And if we don't get really clear on this future self, if we don't have something that is a target that we are shooting for, the mind needs clarity. It needs clarity. But what happens is that our current circumstances will lead our mind to just feel like this is the truth of the moment right now. And this is a very dangerous place to be because often our current circumstances, the things that we keep looping with shitty negative self talk, with the way that we're feeling in the body, with these old habits and behavior that feel like self sabotage because we can't seem to break them, this is current circumstance. And quite frankly, almost always, this is the thing that's going to hold you down and weigh you down. It's not the catalyst to really activate that higher self. The problem is we lose track, we lose sight, and we lose clarity. In that moment when it feels so hard, in that moment when we're having a bad day, in that moment when we're stressed and we have that urge to eat and we're eating all the foods that we said that we weren't going to eat, right? This overeating pattern. That's when we lose sight. This is when we are not activated and living as our future self. Okay. And that's what we got to do. And how the hell do we get there? All right. And that's what I want to offer you today. So, my reminder for you is that you are going to have these obstacles for sure. And we're going to talk about from a metaphysical sort of way how we can get rid of them, how we can change the way that we think about them so that we can keep moving forward with the actions and the life that is necessary, the actually behaviors that are necessary to get us to where we want to go. All right. And so let's go ahead and dive into this mindset piece a little bit more. I got an email today, or I guess yesterday, from an old friend, and his email has not popped into my world for a long time. His name is Brad Linder. And if you happen to ever be near Coppell, Texas, he runs an epic outdoor fitness company. And it might be indoor, outdoor at this point. I'm not quite sure. I haven't hung out with him for a while. But I ended up on his email list, and he had this beautiful thing that's talking about mindset the exact way that I'm talking about it. And the question he poses is it even real? You know, what we often do is we think I just need to do a fitness plan. I just need to, change what I'm eating. But really, let's look at a study here. I guess this is a very well-known study on visualization and really truly changing this idea and playing pretend in your mind, really. And it's in sports, and it's Russian scientists compared four groups of athletes in terms of their training schedules. Okay. So one group, the only thing they trained is physical training. And these are like elite athletes, right? So physical training. And we all know it. If we want to be an elite athlete, you better train hard, right? It's rubber meets the road, your body is moving, it's physical training. So that's group one, 100% physical training. But group two had 75% physical training with 25% mindset mental training. Group 3 was 50-50, and group 4 only had 25% physical training with 75% of the mindset work, the mental training that is required, or at least that's what the study is here to show. And the results showed that group 4, y'all, group 4, with only 25% of their time devoted to physical training. Remember, we're talking elite athletes, and the other 75% of their time was devoted to mental training. Those athletes performed the best. Just hear that. They performed the best. We don't realize what a big freaking deal it is whenever we are working with our mind, when we are working with our thoughts, okay? And this part is so important. I just keep getting downloads on top of downloads, like, out of nowhere. Why did Brad's email just land in my inbox? I have not seen one of his like, how did that get in my inbox? I'm clearly on his list, but it must go to some, like, spam filter or something because I haven't clicked on one of his emails in a long time, and it showed up, and I'm like, "Oh my god, this is exactly what I needed to hear." Because if we really want a quantum leap, if we really want this epic shift and change, it requires not just the physical training, which in the world of Hello Body Freedom, it's not just the habits, it's not just the behaviors. If we are not checking our minds over and over and over again, checking our thoughts, whoo, baby. I've done a little research and really just trying to tune into how we create what we want when we don't have what we want. And when we're actually sitting, let's say, in like just for poor health or IBS or overeating, don't feel in control around food, sugar addicted, right? Self sabotaging behaviors galore. This is it. So just listen to this. All right. You are living in a very particular reality. The reason why it's so hard to future pace into our future self is because when you look around you, you are looking at this particular reality. But what I keep learning is that reality is not what we think it is. So the word reality implies that it must be real. Think about it, real, reality. This must be the truth, right? That reality is true. And if reality is true, you're sitting here, you're like, this is the reality of my life. These are my thoughts, these are my behaviors. If we live in that reality, you cannot argue with reality because it's set in stone, right? It's just set in stone. It is what it is. But when you dive into it from a quantum physics perspective, you realize that reality is simply an electromagnetic transmission that is being projected in your brain. Without our mind, without our brain, we would not process anything as reality. So, understanding that reality is non existent without the brain to make sense of all of these electromagnetic waves floating around us. You can Google the double slit experiment. This is an experiment in quantum physics that has proven something called the observer effect, okay, which is what we just said, but it basically proves that it requires consciousness, i.e., it takes an observer who holds consciousness. That's I'm the observer, you're an observer, in order to even create matter, to create and manifest the thing, this future self that you desire. All right. Without consciousness, without the mind, there is no matter. The wavelength does not turn into a particle if there isn't someone watching it. And within our brains, we have all of these filters in our inside of our mind, the life that we've lived, we have all of these inner filters. And what these inner filters do is they filter what reality actually is for us. And it's filtered based on our beliefs, based on our experiences, based on the mood that we're in, the emotions that we're feeling, and what we deem to be important to us, right? These are all of the filters. So reality is coming in and we are making meaning of it all the time. What you were taught growing up, what we expect to happen, and so forth. So just like tune into that. Our reality is essentially one big perception of our mind, and our perception clouds everything we interact with in our realities. It's essentially like wearing, you hear like those rose colored glasses, right? It's literally like wearing a pair of glasses that are tinted. We think that we're seeing things as they are, but really what's happening is we just have a certain color of glasses on and it's shading absolutely everything. And so when we can understand this, there really is no set reality. There is no set reality. And so if there is no set reality, if we are the ones just taking it in and we are creating our reality, then why don't we just choose the reality that we want, right? Let's look at your health. Let's look at your relationship with food, living in a body that actually feels comfortable, living in a body that's your ideal size. When you look at where you're at right now and what is you're just looking at around at the reality that exists right now, it is simply the present moment showing us in this moment of time, what is going on inside of your mind? The thoughts that you're creating, the reality that you are creating, and the filters that you have based on what's happened in the past, what your beliefs are, what you learned as a kid, right? All of these things. We literally cannot look at reality as the static thing because I want you to think about the reality that you're looking at present moment today, where you're not like, I'm sitting here going, I want a quantum leap this year in my health, with my career, with my clients. I want a quantum freaking leap. That means that the reality I'm living in right now, the way it's skewed, the glasses I'm wearing, it's it's not actually the reality that I want. And when I can understand this, I want you like, here's an example. Here I am living out a movie. So everything I'm looking at, my health, you look at your relationship with food, look at the ways in which you are living that do not feel good for you. Okay. Think about this reality as really you're sitting back and watching it as a movie on TV. And you're just seeing this movie play out. This is the movie of the reality that is happening in this present moment up to this moment based on, right, what is going on inside of our mind. And what if we don't like the movie we're seeing? I don't like the movie. I want the movie to get better. Do you want the movie to get better? We don't throw the TV out. Like, imagine you're sitting at home and you're watching a movie, and the movie is the reality of your life right now and you don't like it. You don't throw the TV out. You don't just go, fuck this, man. I'm out. I want this TV gone. We don't do that. We go in and we actually change the movie. Okay. So this is super important to understand because we have to be able to change the story to one that we would rather have in order to get a different projection on the screen. So we can simply change the movie inside of our own mind to see something different on the screen. So, how do we do this? So, the way that we start to change our outer world is we replace the movie inside of our mind and we change what's being projected into our reality. This is how mindset works. Okay. This is how come the group that had 25% physical training of elite athletes, but 75% of working exactly what we're talking about here over and over again, why they had the best performance. This can be kind of hard. Like, I'm just sitting here going, look around you. Like, this is the reality that you have been creating in this regard from the thoughts and the way that we filtered things out. So, one great way to look around this, you're looking around and you see the movie that you don't want to be seeing. It's just not the movie that you'd prefer to be living out, right? Just take it from that angle. It neutralizes because if this present moment reality isn't what you want, just neutralize it. Okay, this is the movie that's playing right now. It's not the one I prefer. Okay. And I know that this is easier said than done to just when we're at home, we can just click the Netflix button, click the Roku button, right? Change the movie. And the truth is, if it was this easy, I think that we would already be doing it. We was already this would not be a big deal. We'd be living the life of our dreams. We'd feel healthy, free from overeating, feeling comfortable in our bodies. I know that it sounds simple, and I also know it's not easy because I'll tell you, I have had moments in my life where I really focus on this aspect, and it is unfucking believable what ends up showing up in my life. It's like it's like magic and miracles all mixed together. It's so powerful. But we have a lot of programming that makes this harder for us. We have thoughts that we've been looping since we are childhood. We have negative self-talk that's so strong that we are unconscious of it. We have an embodied state of not feeling good. We have an embodied state of not being able to feel our feelings, process what's going on at the body level, right? And all of this is programming. This is all the stuff that's been programmed in us up to this point. And so, depending on your age, man, the longer we've been struggling, like the harder it gets. I want to just acknowledge that I'm sitting here making it sound like magic, but there is work that has to be done. We actually need to go in and change the data, change the movie within the TV, within the framework of our lives. And that can take some time. It can take some time because what we're doing is we are working with old beliefs and emotions and behaviors that no longer serve us. And usually, the reason we feel so uncomfortable showing up as our future self, the reason we feel so uncomfortable doing this mindset work is that it just doesn't feel real. It can feel really awkward and really strange But I promise you, the more that you practice it, and I really, really believe fake it till you make it, it really matters. The more you put this into practice, the more you will start to believe in yourself. The more it will start to feel more true inside of you. And the more that this new movie that you really want to feel and project, you are going to experience it at the mind level and at the body level as well. Okay. So the more you believe in yourself, the more you play it out in the real world, the more that it becomes normalized. And this is so important. And I want you to really hear what you end up doing. This idea of what kind of person do you need to be on a sustainable weight loss journey? If your future self who lost weight sustainably in a healthy, smart way while working with the inner stuff, the emotions, the emotional eating, the trauma resolution, working with processing the reasons you'd be overeating in the first place. Like when you do this work at this level, what you need to know is that you can imagine this future self. All that you're doing is activating something that's already there inside of you. What you want is in alignment with where you want to go. It's in alignment with your deepest truth and highest consciousness, which means inside of you, your conscious mind is already creating it. Okay, just back to that like quantum physics stuff. All right. So, how do we switch the movie? How do we get real practical about how to do this? I'm going to give you just one exercise that I think could be super life-changing, and this is the one that I'm doing over and over and over again, okay? And it is truly visualizing your future self and writing a journal entry to yourself. So it's your future self. So I want you to imagine your future self right now. I want you to imagine and remember whatever reality you're sitting in right now, however real it feels, is just as make believe as the reality that you are desiring. It is from a quantum physics perspective, it is absolutely the same exact thing. You get to choose your reality from this place. Okay? And so I know there's a part in you, all of these filters of, "Oh, this won't happen," or, "Oh, I'm scared," or, "Why even imagine?" Or judging yourself for imagining. I can't stand this kind of shit. Like, when we were kids, we played pretend all the time. I wanna play doctor, I wanna play fireman, right? Whatever the thing is you wanna play. Nobody, like, shamed kids for make believe. In fact, make believe when you're a kid is exactly how you end up manifesting what you want as adults. It's actually pretty important. And now that we're grown-ups, all of this again, it's all of that filtering of past conditioning that shut us down. So you have to be willing to fake it till you make it. You have to be willing to go, I am going to make believe what it is that I want for myself and my future self. And whenever you have this kind of make believe reality that doesn't exist yet in this exact present moment, but it is in alignment with your deepest truth and highest consciousness, y'all, this is the magic. Okay. And so imagine yourself where you want to be. Imagine the people that you're around. Imagine how you feel in your body, the energy you have, the clothing that you're wearing, your ideal size, what you do day to day, whatever it might be. I want you to imagine that and envision that. And this is a little bonus tip here, which is don't just imagine it in a thought process. Close your eyes and envision it in high definition color as this movie, like the colors and the textures around you. And then what do you hear? So bring in the sensory experience. This is the big powerful thing. The sensory experience of color, of texture, of sound, what you hear and what you feel in your body. What does it feel like energetically? What does it feel like emotionally? What thoughts, what is that high vibe energy that your future self is projecting out into the world? And what do you smell and what do you taste? Literally bringing in all of the senses into your future self. And when you can really tune in detail to this future self, I want you to write a journal entry as your future self. And it's in the evening. And all you're doing is you are simply describing the day that you had as your future self, who you have just envisioned and imagined inside of you. What would a day in her life be like? How would she wake up? What would she do? What experiences would she have? How much energy would she have? What would she eat? How would she dress? Who would she be around? How does she handle conflict? What boundaries does she put in place? What love does she give out? How does she help? How does she self love? How does she help herself? How does she fill her own cup up? How does she fill her own cup up so it's so overflowing so it goes out into the rest of the world? Tune in to all of these pieces and really feel into that. And then, as your future self, write about your day that you just had. Write about your day that you just had. And do what you can when you're writing to stay in this space of your future self, to stay in this imagination, to stay in this epic place. And write and write and write. And the more detailed you can be, the better. The more that you can. I know when I first started doing this, I would skate over things and I was like, wait, 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 I'm going to add some extra stuff to it. Add the things that feel powerful for you, that feel emotional for you in this state. And the whole purpose of this is for you to activate that which you already want, to activate it in a meaningful way, to not just activate it, oh, I feel so good. No, your future self had to do something to get there. Your future self had to think differently. She had to feel differently. She had to learn how to process and resolve what is going on at the body level. She had to behave differently. She had to make different choices. And now here she is. And she's just laying it out to you just on just an epic day. Okay. Now, there are two things that are going to happen. Number one, your old conditioning, your past beliefs, your failures, all of the stuff, it's all going to come up whenever you are finally in the space of this high vibe future self. You are going to have the negative self talk coming. You're going to have the stress response and the uncomfortable feelings in your body because it doesn't feel real, because you have all this evidence and proof of the reality you're living in right now that that doesn't exist. And if you allow those thoughts and those feelings to step up to the plate and be the one in charge, then this shit won't work. Okay. You literally, in that moment, because this will happen, you 1000% will have all the shitty thoughts, all the icky feelings. None of this is real. What am I doing? You're going to judge yourself. You're going to shame yourself. You're going to do all the things. Okay. I want you to let that shit go. You literally have to, in that moment, make a decision to say, while I know that this stuff is real inside of me, it's can totally tell all my crap, all this old conditioning is coming up. I'm going to choose just in this moment, right now, while I'm writing this journal entry from my future self, I'm going to focus on that. I'm going to focus on the juicy stuff because, like I said, there's two things that are going to happen. You're going to have all the icky thoughts and icky feelings come up, but you are also going to have all of the epic, delicious future self, like yummy, awesome. You're going to have downloads on top of downloads come up. And so you get to choose in that moment what you focus on. Are you going to put all of your energy on all of the shitty past conditioning and let that tear you down? Or are you going to go, all right, we're going to shut that part off for a hot minute. And I am really going to put my focus, right? I'm going to, instead of looking at this, right? Because both parts are there. It's not like the negative conditioning just automatically goes away. It doesn't. But what you can do is narrow the focus, or not narrow, but send your focus away from that and expand your focus on your future self. And this is where the magic happens. This is where the magic happens. This is the mindset training that is not just training your thoughts, but when you can really drop in, you are literally feeling what it's like. It is a high vibe intensity and emotion that feels fucking great in the body. And then you can create thoughts from there and the emotional experience you wanna have. Thoughts from there and the emotional experience you wanna have over and over and over again. It's literally like a download from your future self, okay? And the more that you do this exercise, and so I'll tell you what I'm doing in my life right now is I am writing it out as my future self, and I'm just dropping in and dropping in as a practice, as a mindset, meditative journaling practice regularly. And then on the days that I am not doing that, I am going back and reading what I wrote, and then I'll elaborate it on it more, or I'll just drop in and feel what that energy is. Because that's the thing. As your future self, she's gonna have a lot of days. Your future self isn't just like one magical day. Every fucking day is magical, but it's a little different. Some days are boring, some days are exciting. But as your future self, like when you can come from this place, it can be epic mindset training for you to really drop in. Okay. And I'll give you one last amazing tip. This is what we teach inside of Hello Body Freedom. It's called the CNN. You want to think of it like you're a reporter on CNN. That's the acronym for it. That when you start to recognize that the present moment reality conditioning is coming in, the negative self talk pops in, all of the thing like, oh, and you're just lost in the reality of the moment. In that moment, you wanna CNN yourself. You wanna become the best reporter ever, and you wanna CNN. The C stands for catch your thoughts. You've gotta catch the old conditioning. You've gotta catch the shit beliefs. You literally have to catch the ways in which you keep looping yourself stuck. That's the first thing. The first is you need to catch it. The next is you need to neutralize it. You need to go, "Okay." 'Cause here's what we normally do. "Oh, here I am." We believe our shitty thoughts. That's part of the problem. We just get lost in the present moment reality and these shitty thoughts that we just believe them. We literally have to catch them, and then instead of believing them and going down another shitty spiral, we need to just neutralize the fact that old conditioning is real. It exists inside of us, and it doesn't just magically go away by itself. We have to neutralize it as just a part of what it means to grow into and up level into who we want to be. All of the shitty thought is going to be here. It's going to happen. Full stop. Period. Just neutralize it. Don't make it wrong. Don't make yourself wrong. Don't go down another shit spiral. Neutralize it. It makes sense. This is shit that happens. It's part of it. Okay, that's the first thing. We got to catch it. We've got to neutralize it. And now we need to navigate somewhere else. We need to change our focus and go bloop and navigate towards that which we actually want to focus on. And this is a beautiful place to drive into your future self. And if you do this over and over again, so future self journaling, 5 sense reality, right? We talked about get yourself into that place, do that 5 sense reality, do this future self journaling. And throughout the day, you need to become your best reporter, CNN yourself, okay? CNN yourself, okay? Catch it, neutralize it, navigate towards the other thoughts that are better for you. All right. And if you need help with any of this, for crying out loud, reach out, send me a DM. I would love to help you and support you. And quite frankly, this is how it works inside of Hello Body Freedom. We are focused on creating right relationship with food and body, creating sustainable, healthy in action habits towards feeling better in our body. Right. And that's the action part, the behavior part, the action part, but attached to both of those are regulating our nervous system, working with and processing emotions so that way they don't like just take over us. Then we just end up face down on a plate of nachos and a pint of margaritas. And then the third part of this over and over again is the meaning that we're making, how we're able to change our thoughts, how we are able to use the smart part of our brain to truly future pace in there into the future and connect all of these three pieces together. So, action connected with body processing, emotional processing, trauma resolution, and really truly working on the thoughts in our head. This is the trifecta of healing. This is the trifecta of really truly getting to where you want to go. And as far as I'm concerned, keep on watching, my friends. This is a trifecta of the quantum leap year that I am going to have. And if you want to come along with me, then keep on listening and let's do this. Thank you so much for being here. Have an epic rest of your day. I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.